Light the beam. No, just kidding. The clickers.
Clickers.
The Clippers, the Kings, the Bucks, the Hawks, the Grizzlies, the Timberwolves, and the Cavs were all eliminated from the playoffs. So we're going to break down their teams for you here on After the Buzzer. Let's get to that intro music. Back to the podcast. I am your co-host, Tioni McKeague, and with me as always are my longtime friends and co-hosts, Nolan Chang, Jared Shirai. Say what's up to the pod, boys.
Hello.
Hello.
After you guys' discussion yesterday, I made a decision because I woke up thinking it. I'm getting Wingstop for lunch today.
Oh my god.
My boy.
Great game day meal.
Yeah.
We're watching the Laker game, guys.
Hell yeah. Before we start After the Buzzer, did you guys see, it is basketball related. Jeremy Kilgore, Brittany Bauman, inducted to the Hall of Fame at Hope.
Congrats.
I was like, that was pretty awesome.
We went to school with.
Yep.
Great talent.
My roommate.
Hope International.
Yep. Ballers.
Kilgore.
Ballers.
Anyway.
I figure I'd throw that out there because, we're all Hope people.
I did not realize that they have a Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I didn't know they did.
Yeah, I was like, how did we get in that?
Chris Wallace.
How did we get that? I have the all-time dig leader. Come on, man.
Chris, I know you don't listen to this, but listen, I watch.
Chris, you're still my favorite player.
You're the next one to get it. Let's just.
Chris is still my favorite player, man. Chris Rosales.
Ooh, no, Jeremy doesn't listen to this either. Anyway, those are like two names that nobody knows except for us, probably.
I know.
It's kind of funny.
They're like, yeah, those guys.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so we're here now to talk about the NBA playoffs, some of the teams that were eliminated. Obviously, we've been doing it since the beginning of the playoffs. As teams get eliminated, we're going to break down sort of the highlights and lowlights for each team. So here we are. First team up. I'm going to swing it over to you, Nolan. We got the Los Angeles Clippers, your second favorite team in the league. Kind of give us your highlights, lowlights for them, for the team in general, but more starting where kind of what they did for the games themselves.
First off, good. Congrats on a strong season for the most part, I guess. You guys did have our number every matchup, and that's been how it is.
Does it pain you to give them kudos or something?
Yeah, but for the pod, I'm not going to be that guy.
Yeah,
okay. Congrats.
Congrats on a good season.
Have
backhanded compliment. How
Forced is the word.
No, but
I'm surprised you didn't throw in a good job, good regular season.
Good way to hang that banner up for beating the Lakers. No, but I've been on record for the pod saying, I think Westbrook is a great, hardworking talent in the NBA, and absolutely, I think someone that's going to be a Hall of Famer, but he just wasn't a good fit for the Lakers, and there's just no two ways about it. And I think he absolutely showed that when he joined the Clippers this second half. But I think the biggest part about this is you got to figure out what you're doing with Paul George and Kawhi. They're eating up your cap, and they aren't available. And I don't hold anything against Kawhi for the second half of the season because he did play more games. He started playing the back-to-backs. How are you going to, he gets a meniscus tear in the playoffs, and all of a sudden he just can't play. But it is becoming an issue, and I don't know if you guys saw like the Stephen A thing where he's saying like I think the Clippers need to force him to retire. I wouldn't say force him to retire, but I don't know. There's got to be something they can do because he's not playing enough to earn the amount of money he is making for this last year of his contract. And Paul George, same thing. He's been more healthy than Kawhi has. But he hasn't been available, and he didn't play the whole second half, like pretty much the last second half of season.
Yeah.
So it's got to be something that they figure out. Steve Ballmer has a lot of decisions to make with their team, and I think they have a great amount of role guys. Terrence Mann, they have Zubac, they have Plumlee, they got Powell. Sorry, Powell's a great guy who's been filling in for Paul George when he's been out most of the season.
Yeah.
So they do have still a competitive roster. But it is those two guys, and maybe it's a decision if they find someone who's willing to eat that last year of Kawhi's contract and trade him away for something to do. Maybe do a soft
was like, we would.
Oh, take over
you already
his,
know he's
the
like
rest of his contract just to get maybe a soft restart going for their team. Maybe re-sign Russell Westbrook just because of what he showed he can do for that team. And I think it's gonna pay off a lot better because a team that faces the Phoenix Suns in the first round is never gonna have an easy task. But with Westbrook and Kawhi alone, they were able to take game one. And that's not a fluke. That is them earning that win.
Mm-hmm.
So I think long term, they do have to make some sort of decision with what they're doing with these guys. Maybe they are just going to, bite the bullet, just take the last 2 contracts next year and then not re-sign them or re-sign them for a little bit lower of a contract. Because I think at this point, there's no way a negotiation is going to happen where like, yeah, we'll extend you for a max when you haven't been deserving of a max contract. And that's no way your fault. It's just health. Health is not something you choose to be bad at. It just happens. So for Clippers, I wish them luck in their offseason, but yeah, those 2 guys are really going to handcuff them to where they are right now.
Yeah. It's funny because like my kind of hot but not really hot take was like, honestly, the Clippers probably would have won that had they actually been healthy, but
it would have been, I could see that going to 7-game series either way.
Yeah, I mean, because like they legitimately put up a fight with just Russell Westbrook essentially. So I mean, it just sucks because, like I said, I am a fan of Kawhi Leonard. I do think, I mean, even Paul George to a certain extent, but Kawhi Leonard, I've always been a fan of. Always liked his, general demeanor, especially when it came to like being the guy. But it just sucks, they're never really gonna. But yeah, that was a great point. You're right, because they really are gonna be until they figure out what to do with them. Trade them to the Bulls, whatever. I'm just saying, Kawhi for DeMar, we'll take it. Anyway, sorry, I started off with a joke, and I'm going to continue on to the next team over here. Jared, we got Light the Beam, Sacramento Kings.
Who? No, just kidding. Man, I will go on record as saying that I wish this team won, just because like they hadn't been there for a while. But I mean, it's a great thing. We had this team. I mean, we talked about it earlier in past pods of this team had no business being here in our eyes at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Beginning of the season, we had them nowhere even close. Like they were playing for Victor, basically, is where we had them. And for them to finally kind of figure it out, I mean, you got guys like De'Aaron Fox and then Malik Monk. That was a huge, for me, that was one of their, if he was hot, they were going to go far. And I think he didn't really show up in Game 7, although nobody really showed up in Game 7 except Steph Curry.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. Like Steph Curry was the reason why the Warriors won. It wasn't because anybody on the Kings didn't play bad. Nobody on the Warriors played bad. They all played bad. And Steph was just that guy. But it's actually kind of nice to see them be so good and finish third and take a team like the Warriors to 7 because it shows the grit. It shows a lot of things, and they're young. I think they have enough youth on this team, and they're only going to add to it. And they finally found a system that helps them be successful. They finally have faith. They finally did so well that the faith of the city can come back and support them because those arenas are packed, man. I loved watching it. I loved watching the fire. They said it was a loud place to play. Like it's nice to see Kings basketball kind of get back on the map because for the last few years, man, or the last I would say decade or so, the last decade. I say a decade though, but I mean because everybody was getting old and then they were transitioning out of things and things like that. It's nice to see them finally have an identity. And there's a guy like Harrison Barnes who's on the older side who takes that leadership role, and then you have the youth just bringing that fire.
Just joking. Just kidding.
Wow.
I saw a funny meme on Twitter.
Wow, dude, he's always a scapegoat though.
It shows this guy in like a Kings jersey walking sad, goes into his door. He's like, Kings fans after this series, walks to his home, closes the door, takes his jersey off, and there's a Warriors jersey underneath it. He just walks away. I was like, I mean, that kind of probably what happened for a lot of people up there.
I mean, if you're not cheering for the Kings because you haven't been for like the last how long, right? You're gonna be
And
a
if you
Warriors
have,
fan
we
at
salute
Bay as
you.
well.
I know.
You know,
All of a sudden, how many people did I see come out? We're like,
dude,
the
there were so many
Kings.
people
Like,
posting
oh my God.
everything. They're like, "We're
Oh my
back,
God.
baby!" But no, going forward, I think they finally have that. We always talk about identity with every team, and because this team had not had one for so long, I think they can keep these key pieces. They can keep everybody. Dude, going forward, they might be a scary team to be in contention every year, as they add only to make them better. So,
Yeah.
for
They
me, I
just
think
need
the
that
Kings had a
defense,
great
man.
season.
Yeah, I agree. I was like, who do you guys out of kind of like the younger teams? And I know I'm gonna go off topic a little bit real quick, but of the younger teams, who do you think really has a chance of like breaking through that like glass wall of like these older stars that have kind of been dominating the conference finals and championships for like the last 15 years, I'd say. So
The Nets.
you think they're going to be the first one? Wow.
I mean, they already have the pieces, and they're showing
Yeah,
that they can
that's a nice hot
fight in
take.
the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
You get some younger stars
Mhm.
on their team, or whatever the draft may be. You start building around what you have now. All the age, I would say the age average for their team is probably very similar to what the Kings are right now.
You want to say the Celtics?
Tatum's been around. I mean, Tatum and Brown have been around for what, 7 years already? Are they really the young stars anymore?
I guess kind of like it's like I consider that younger generation probably shoot, I don't know. I can't even maybe Joel Embiid and like past Joel Embiid kind of draftees.
I was
Because
thinking
it
more
seems
Luke, like from Luca back.
Yeah, I was
maybe
thinking,
even
like, 4
maybe
years
even that.
back.
I think because like if you really think about it, like even with that group, like the Tatum era of players, which was it
I think
like
it was
Ingram?
2015. I think
Who else is around that?
2015 or
Ingram was it Ingram, Lonzo Ball, all those guys?
Kind of around that time, I would say so.
Yeah, because I was like, I feel like Ben
Right?
Simmons
Because
maybe.
Lonzo's like what
17.
6?
Lonzo
Yeah,
was 17.
17.
Tatum was the D'Angelo Russell
I was gonna say
draft.
6.
No.
Yes. Either that or Randall.
Okay, because I was gonna say
Trying
I
to
was
think.
like
Because I
in my
remember
head
we
I'm
chose
thinking,
one of them over Tatum.
Yeah.
got you. Okay, yeah, I was like, because I in my head I'm thinking, like, when was the
Got a
last time
sidetrack.
like who was the youngest big star to like win? Was it Giannis? Like, when was the
Probably.
last time we had like a younger team actually make it to the
I think it
finals
was.
and
I think
actually
I would
win?
consider it Giannis. Yeah,
Yeah, it has to be him, right? So like,
like a superstar, a young superstar led. Yeah, I think
yeah,
it's Giannis. I
yeah.
think it's
Because
Giannis.
like in my head, I'm thinking like I get that there's like this narrative of like wanting to build through the draft and have like these teams that will contend, but like
I mean,
realistically, it's always only
technically,
like
is
4 or 5 teams that actually contend. You know what I mean?
it would Kawhi's 2019 win? Technically, he was a young star then. No, because he was a rookie. What,
I don't even know.
2014?
How old is he
13,
now? Like, what is he? Is he our age?
I think he's
Younger?
31.
Let me look.
Oh no, I lied. He is. I think he's my age. I'm pretty sure he grad the same exact year. So
Kawhi is born in
32.
1991. He's 31.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so I
he
mean,
would, he would
He
turn
turns
34
32
year.
years
he
here.
technically, I guess you could say, was a young star then, and was able to lead them.
This is like, I'll be honest with myself. I was not young in 2018. Just,
Yeah.
but yeah, I
No.
mean, I guess it's funny because I just keep thinking like the superstar threshold is just,
Yeah.
it's so weird how many young teams there are that are like
It doesn't.
probably going to get maybe third, maybe second round, third round, but like I
It
just
doesn't
can't
help that
imagine
you
them
have a
winning.
35-year-old Steph Curry and a 38-year-old LeBron elongating their whole ass prime to
Yeah.
make this more difficult for these new
that's
stars
true.
to kind of just step in.
Yeah.
That
I mean,
is
we don't
very,
consider
very
him
true.
a star, but I'd say Memphis. Memphis is there every year. Like,
But
I
not
don't.
because of Ja.
But I know when Jaw's not playing, bro, they're winning. No, just kidding.
It'd be an interesting, yeah, it'd be an interesting.
But you
thing
know what
to
I
see
mean?
they do
Like
in
that team's still young and they do a lot of good things. As much as they're the villains and people hate them, I think Memphis could always be in that category because they have so
Only
many
the
players
villains
that can
because
get
of
over.
Brooks. Like none of the other people. on
John
this team, like,
Morant
John Morant made passive
went to
comments that
Crestview.
He's
No.
good. I'm good in the West, but it's not like saying like, oh no, we better than all these motherfuckers. He's voting confidence in his team, and they are solid in the West. It's just they just have more scrutiny on them now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just funny. I'm so curious to see who's finally going to break like the it seems like it's been like certain teams every single year. But anyway, continuing on, the next team we have up next for you, Nolan, is the team we were just talking about, the Milwaukee Bucks. So Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks, number 1 seed, got eliminated by the number 8 seed Miami Heat. Absolute insanity. We'll talk about that probably on a different pod, but for this one specifically about the Bucks, highlights, lowlights for that team.
Highlights were second half of season. They finally had a healthy team.
Mm-hmm.
Then they go into playoffs. Giannis, unfortunately, lands on his tailbone. It was a hard foul. And, if you're 7 feet and you're falling from 5 feet straight on your back, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt a lot. So
Yeah.
I don't blame him for taking that game, maybe 2 games off. I know he was out for a total of 2.5 games. He didn't play 2 and 3, correct?
He did not play 2 and 3, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to step up if you're the other people on the team. You can't let... And
I
this is no knock on...
I thought you were going to say Giannis. So you got to step up if you're Giannis. I was like, he was...
Yeah.
You got to be that guy, man.
I was like, you just
Damn.
said.
I was like, damn, Nolan.
This is not saying that it was an easy road for the Heat because Jimmy Butler... But,
Yeah, props.
you can't let one guy dismantle your whole team when Giannis is out. Like, you have Drew Holiday.
When it's playoff Jimmy.
Yeah, you have Drew Holiday, Middleton, Brooke Lopez, you have Connaughton, Grayson Allen, all these guys who have had heavy, fat minutes this whole season, know how to play without Giannis on the court. And you're telling me that you couldn't get at least one more game to help slow down the series in the Heat's favor. It just doesn't make sense. And I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily say it's coach's fault. I wouldn't necessarily say it's the team as a whole's fault, but the internal soul searching's got to be done this offseason because you can have a very competitive next season if you keep this whole roster. If everyone plays the same that they are able to play this next season, you guys are absolutely still in the playoff race and have something to show in postseason. But that can't be how
they didn't play Jay Crowder.
True.
The playoff king. He's like, just saying.
Playoff king. But yeah, I don't know. Their roster, I wouldn't necessarily think that there's any changes that need to be made, but if this player is not going to be consistent enough to provide that you should stay on the team, then goodbye. That's how the Bucks need to look at it now.
My question to you. Go ahead.
They definitely missed having PJ Tucker on that team because
Workhorse,
Jimmy Butler he was working through any and all of their players, but having a PJ Tucker in there would have at least helped slow him down, which was
or body him up and you know what I mean? Like PJ's got
tough. That. Jesus.
Yeah.
They missed him for sure this year. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, what were you saying, Jared?
Oh no, I was gonna ask Nolan, since he's got this one. Do you think they're too old? Like they need to invest it, like try to get somebody just a little bit younger who can play a lot more minutes to do a lot of the thing. And the only reason why I bring it up is because Matthews is 30. I was looking at the stats and stuff. Like Matthews is 36. They're asking him to play. I think Ingles is 35 when I clicked on it. Drew Holiday's 32. Middleton's already 31. And then you look at Brooke Lopez, who's on the older side as well. Players like Myers Leonard and Jay Crowder's on the older side. You name how great these players are, but in a long season and everything, you know what I mean? Like good role players, but
the legs
a lot of teams go to a 8-9 person rotation, and if you're in that rotation, man, that's a lot of minutes still yet. Yeah. A lot of conditioning that as you get older, I'll tell you, your body breaks down on you.
Yeah. The hard thing was that is you have Giannis, who's 27, maybe.
I think he's 27.
27, 28.
Sounds about right.
He's still got at least maybe 3-4 years of his good prime, I guess we could say, that's going to be left on his career.
5 or 6, yeah. One boy.
Yeah, I mean,
depending on especially because he's close to the basket. Yeah, I mean, he ain't like
so
that.
Then, if I'm the Bucks, I'm looking at, is there anything short term that I can do with what I have around Giannis that I can trade away and get actual youth around him, or do I have a discussion with Giannis? Hey, do we need to look somewhere else for you because there's no way people are going to eat Drew's contract, Middleton's contract, Brooke Lopez's contract, all these guys on my team right now. Who can I trade for? Maybe I can take Kawhi's contract and then trade away someone else just to kind of get that on the team. But then you still have the same
DeRozan.
But yeah, I mean,
it's like everybody you're naming. I'm like Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton. I would switch. Yeah,
because
He's like,
the hard thing with it is the front office can look at it in a complacent way, like, yeah, but we got a ring with Giannis, so we can still do this. As opposed to Dame Lillard's, where it's like, yeah, you're not doing much for him, but you also have never had a successful postseason. So why get complacent now if you're the Bucks? Wouldn't you try to just full send, do something with Giannis and get him good pieces around, and maybe in 2 years' time be again that team at the top 2 in the Eastern Conference that is a actual viable threat? Or do you get to a point where you say, Giannis, we thank you, and I know Giannis wouldn't hold anything against him. It's like, let's try to look for you for something else, because you've been there from the beginning back in 2013, and now it's just to that point where there's nothing more this small market team can do for you.
Yeah.
So it just.
I mean, honestly, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think that they're like it necessarily is that they're too old. Like the starting unit could probably still be together. I think it's just those I think it's just those kind of other pieces that are around the starting unit that I'd like to see kind of get younger and be a little more agile. Like, they need some guys off the bench that are a little bit better suited to like kind of these longer games as opposed to like Wes Matthews. Because, yeah, I think Wes Matthews is one of those guys that probably can't be counting on him for as many minutes as they were anymore.
Yeah.
But even Joe Ingles is another one that I don't think they should really be counting on him anymore. Jay Crowder, like I said, he's a playoff king because he always gets into the playoffs. But realistically, he's another one. Like it's just a matter of like fixing their depth. But I think they're starting
rings for making playoffs.
Yeah. But I think their starting unit can still keep it together. They can still
just need to be healthy, because Chris Middleton, I mean, that's the biggest part of their team, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That when he's
the
not healthy,
only sucky thing is like, which was their issue initially, right? Is that they have a hard time attracting players, so it's going to be that same issue even after the contracts are over.
Even after winning a championship.
Yeah, exactly. Which
sadly
it shouldn't be, but it is. Oh, excuse me, it is. Anyway, continuing on.
Sound effects.
Swinging it over to you, Jared. We got the Atlanta Hawks. They were another not really a surprise for us here on the pod, because we thought that they for sure were probably going to get bounced in that first round, but the Celtics do make it interesting by letting them get one win in there. So throwing it over to you, what do you think about the Hawks? Highlights, lowlights for them?
They had 2 wins.
Oh yeah, you're right. They're right.
2 wins,
right.
Game 3 and Game 5. Game 3 and Game 5.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, Trey. I love how I called out Trey and said you're not him. He's still not him, in my opinion, but
no, he's not.
He did do really well to give his team a little bit of a boost of a confidence. I mean, like we thought they were gonna get swept 4-0, and he said no, not on my watch, kind of thing. He kind of took it under his wing, and I mean, it's nice to see him step up in that regard, because like he wants to be that guy. So regardless of if they won or lost, I'm pretty sure Trey's going to take the blame. He's going to be the scapegoat for that team. Mm-hmm. But going forward, I mean, you got players like Trae Young and DeJounte Murray. We had reservations about them from the beginning, because they're both very ball dominant players, and how it's going to play out. I mean, and it works out to a certain extent, because one gets a break, the other one gets a break from the ball. Trey can play off the ball if he needs to, because he's a shooter. But I mean, and then you have players like John Collins. I love him, but I do think they need that's a piece that they should have traded away during the trade deadline. Move on from him. Clint Capella, I'd keep around, just because Clint, you know what you're getting from Clint.
But Clint's health is always an issue with him.
Yeah, but I mean, but the fact that he misses, and Okongwu was playing a lot of minutes. Like he has a nice setup there. And if Clint doesn't start, then you treat him like a Tristan Thompson, JaVale McGee. Like you use him to come in, work hard, get you offensive boards, clog the paint, things like that. So his minutes don't have to be. I know he wants to play starter minutes, but when health is an issue, like that's where you have to take minutes away. So keeping him, and I think he does a good job of like the defensive leadership for them, because they don't really have too many defensive leaderships. Having another another year in the league with Sadiq Bey, who they traded for, I think is going to help them a lot because, they got him late. He came from a Pistons team that was crap. And now he's with a team that actually is in contention. So to see him, to see what they can do with him and hopefully move him into the starting lineup, in Hunter's spot. I mean, that's going to be huge. And if you can retain, they have shooters, Bogdanovich. I always forget which one, but both of them can shoot, so I don't really care. Both of them can shoot, so nobody really cares about it. But I mean, going forward though, if you look past that, they still have some young names, but I don't know too many of these names who are going to be able to fill the void when the stars need a break.
Yeah.
We just talked about the Bucks, and I know they're a championship team and this and that, and you got the Giannis, but past their starting lineup, you kind of look at it. Yes, we talked about them being older, but you kind of trusted those guys because they've been there, they've done it. The one name I think we left off on that one was Goran Dragic, and he's old as hell, but when Dragic's on the court, you trust that what he's going to do with the ball. The only person I look past the starting lineup besides Bogdanovich is Aaron Holiday, and Aaron Holiday hasn't really made too much of a name for himself past Drew. I mean, so looking forward to their depth, I mean, that's where I think they have to either develop these young kids, or they gotta bring in somebody just kind of like an Iggy is for the Warriors. If he doesn't play a lot of minutes, then they're mentoring and teaching them the right way of coming off the bench, the right mindset of what your role really is. But I mean, Kawhi could go here too, man. Kawhi could go here too. I mean, that'd be kind of scary.
It's funny because, personally, I think if they just trade Trey for pieces, they actually might do better next year without him and with more depth than they would.
I just think he's the face that they're not going to want to trade him though. They traded him for Luke, the biggest trade was him and Luka on draft day.
Yeah.
Right. So I feel like they want to make it work, and they've put all this money to bring in DeJounte. And so I feel like that's where they need to go in a different direction as far as John Collins, or maybe even giving Capella up, because Okongwu played good minutes.
Exactly.
Those would be the two
backup who can replace him. And you could still get good money for Capella.
Yeah, you get good money for Capella. You get good options for John Collins, and you have Bay and Okongwu who's been there, and then if you bring in a star that fills into that role, then these kids know what they're doing coming off the bench because that's what they've been doing this whole last season. So for me, I mean, that's kind of what it is. They just need more of a bench identity because I think they did a good job of the starters or their starting seven, because the seven understood and did their job, and that's why they were in the playoffs. That's why they took Boston to 6, and that's no joke when you take Boston to 6, even though Boston kind of gave it to them. But I mean, a win is a win. We'll take whatever. But it's a learning point, I think, for Atlanta to know that they can do it against a top tier team, and they just need a little bit more pieces to get the job actually done. I think, at least.
It's funny because I think on their bench, if you keep a guy like DeAndre Hunter and you're able to retain, I'm forgetting his name. There's another young cat on the team that he can shoot the three. No,
was it Griffin?
Because say you were, yeah, exactly. Adrian Griffin. Is it AJ
Griffin?
AJ Griffin. Okay,
I think we'll just say Griffin.
Yeah, just Griffin.
Yeah. So I was I think. Yeah, I think AJ Griffin and DeAndre Hunter are kind of the makings of a really solid bench unit. They got Onyeka Okongwu as another one that's another great solid piece. They have 3 guys that honestly, I think anybody in the league will want those 3 guys on the team. AJ Griffin's a hell of a 3-point shooter. DeAndre Hunter is a hell of a defender. I was Onyeka Okongwu, another one that's kind of not even fully fledged out yet. Still has a lot of room to grow and still can be kind of a everything center. So yeah, I'm on the board. I'm on board with just trading Trey. Is there a team though that even makes sense for them to trade Trey to? If you're another team, who wants Trey? So many people. I remember I saw this rumor and I was like, oh God, let's hope the Bulls never make this trade, because I was it was something along the lines of basically Trey for the other pieces. But I was you'd want to see a Trey Young, Zach LaVine? No, hell no. That is the worst backcourt in the league at that point.
That's true.
Yeah, I was is there even a team?
The Knicks?
I mean, look, it's hard for me because I'm just going to be recycling, but him and Dame are the same. You know, they can assist, but they're phenomenally scoring first guards.
Yeah.
And you can plug them interchangeably with a team that needs that. So, depending on what you want to do, you know, if Jamal Murray wasn't stepping back up and doing crazy for the Nuggets, I would say, hey, why don't you just trade for him? Trade Murray and maybe some pieces. You could probably,
sucks that he went off in the playoffs because that probably was his one chance to get onto the Nuggets.
You could have probably at the deadline traded Murray and MPJ for Trey, and I think they would still have just as good success, if not more, given what their team is, because the offense still runs through Jokic.
That would have been a hell of a trade for Atlanta.
That would have been.
But anyway, it's funny because that's my only sticking point with him. It's like it sucks, but it's like, where do you send him? Because there are not a lot of teams that really want Trae Young. But anyway, the next team got for you, Nolan. Another controversial, just phenomenal, just unreal team.
Say it.
Probably one of the best teams in the league right now because they're not scared of anybody in the West. We're talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves.
I'll be right back.
Nah, I'm just joking. The Memphis Grizzlies. Throwing it over to you. What are your kind of thoughts on them? Highlights, lowlights for them.
Highlights and lowlights. Highlights. You don't have to worry about re-signing Dylan Brooks. Yeah. If you do, you could probably do it for a vet minimum because that guy sucks. You know, it's more sweet because the Lakers were the ones to eliminate them.
Yeah,
hey, Layla. But you know, I think that the Memphis Grizzlies they are a young team, and absolutely this series would have maybe been a different story had they had a healthy Clark, healthy Adams, plugging in that paint. But you know, no knock to Tillman, he did phenomenal. He plays great off ball, and they can create the offense for him. But he was able to get a lot of boards. The games that they did win, he was phenomenal in. So there is that bright spot. You know, the tough thing is you play a Lakers team that does have good inside presence defense. And that's going to be a lot more difficult if all you have there is Jaren Jackson Jr. And Tillman as your two main focal points, because now you're stuck. Both of you trying to cover AD, you're trying to offset it. One of you's playing, one of you's not. So it is very difficult, but they do have a bright future. Without Dylan Brooks, I would say you could find another guy who doesn't talk as much shit, but just plays as well for cheaper, probably. Yeah. And then you got to figure out what you're doing with Ja Morant. You know, you obviously are not necessarily going to trade him because you guys were accepting of him coming back after the whole debacle. He played fine, played fantastic in their first win of this series, or second win of the series. One of those, either way, he was a beast. So, but you know you can operate without him. So now it's just making sure that you can find pieces that are going to be able to continue that in the event that he's injured, in the event that maybe you do want to trade Ja and you still have a team that can compete, kind of like the Nets. You know, they traded away those two stars, but the pieces they had still were able to sustain a great second half into the playoffs, even though they got bounced in the first round. It was a tough fight. So I think that the Memphis Grizzlies are going to be fine, get their health taken care of, come back the next season, and make some noise. I hope we play them again next year and are competitive, but make some noise.
I know. I was just thinking about it, but I was like, if you did trade Ja,
the Bulls are not going to trade with Ja.
It's like DeMar DeRozan. I'm just like, no, but I was gonna say, I was like, Mikal Bridges.
He's just trying to get rid of DeMar DeRozan. That's all it is. Every team that we're going to talk about, he's going to say, "Hey, DeMar, could you go to this team?"
Desmond Bane, Mikal Bridges, and Jaren Jackson Jr. would be like a hand in glove fit. It would be
nice.
A nice little trio right there.
Yeah.
As soon as you said the Nets, I was just like, damn, if you did trade Ja, that would be a team that has a lot of picks and a lot of dudes that they could trade, but they have a very good corner piece guy that could actually be a hell of a corner piece for the Grizzlies. So,
true.
I'm just saying, Desmond Bane still could be just your guy, and you just get rid of the other guy that even though he's a good guy, you know what I mean?
But is he a
got
good guy? Just
one.
kidding.
Like, do you need two good guys that do the same thing? No, I'm just joking. Anyway, yeah, I mean, they're definitely going to be in the conversation for a long time. It's going to be interesting to see what they do in the offseason. I'm so curious if they re-sign Dylan Brooks. I imagine they have to, because it's like,
Do they?
he's endeared himself to their fan base so much.
Who's
Like, you know what I
gonna
mean?
want
Like,
him?
for their fan base, I'm 99% sure that he's like the type of guy that, like, we hate him, but their fan base loves
You know
him
who's
and
willing to
adores
pick
him.
up Dylan Brooks? The Clippers.
The Lakers.
To make it more
The
controversial.
Lakers to play
To
with.
be the
No.
fight.
No, I'm just like, I mean, like DeMar DeRozan for Dylan
But
Brooks.
no, but could
You're
you
gonna
really
get
imagine,
Pat
though?
Bev for Dylan Brooks.
Could you imagine though, LA
They're
Clippers
just gonna
pick
switch.
him up, and if the Clippers still sustain that regular season, we can work the Lakers every single matchup. How much more hyped would the LA fan base for Clippers be if Dylan
Yeah.
Brooks is on the team as well, and they beat the Lakers every regular season matchup?
Facts though.
You're damn
Not
right.
wrong.
Chess, not checkers.
I'm still hoping that, I don't know. It's funny because I had this like thought that, never mind. Not even gonna talk about it. We're gonna move on to the next team. Jared, going over to you. We got the Minnesota Timberwolves. They were eliminated after, was it 5? They were 5, right?
They
At the
were
end of the
5, I
sweep.
believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5.
They won game 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. Because then Anthony Edwards had his
I
like.
think we were only right about one game, to be honest.
We don't talk about the past. We'll look into the future.
It was the Philadelphia.
This
Don't roll
podcast
me
is
in with
about
you
what
guys.
we think hypothetically could happen. We're not fortune tellers, Jared.
Like,
Oh,
you guys
we
make
better we're gonna
predictions.
work on it,
But
man.
we
We're,
are
going
pretty
to we're
active
going
with
to
our time,
Vegas.
everybody.
We need to be fortune tellers.
Legit though. Could you imagine?
That's all I'm saying,
Like,
man. We're going
we
to
upgrading
Vegas.
the
We have
studio.
to
No, I'm joking.
Us in the hotel room. The parlay hit. The parlay hit.
be. That's all you're gonna hear, bro.
And only
gonna be on the
everybody
story.
who's here is gonna get a part of it.
Yeah, Jalen.
Imagine.
No,
Oh, he would be so pissed.
dude, he'd be
Anyway,
bad.
yeah.
He'd be bad.
I don't know. Minnesota Timberwolves. Here we go. Let's get back on track.
Minnesota Timberwolves. Lost in 5. You know, they lost to a good team. I mean, Denver. We have Denver. Denver's playing really good ball. We're gonna tip our hats to them. But as far as like Minnesota goes, I mean, man, I said it at the beginning of the year. I think Ant should be like considered for most improved as far as learning to carry a team and making a name for himself in this area. And I think he did it. I would say for 90% of the season. There are games where I looked at things and I watched highlights and I'm like, damn, what did he do? He didn't do anything. But then you have players like Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert around him who are supposed to be like Cat's team. So, and then Rudy Gobert, they spent all that money getting a guy who didn't deserve all that money. I mean, when push came to shove, you look at it, and that's the two names that, in my opinion, you got to part ways. I would say part ways with Cat, just because you spent all that money on Rudy and getting Rudy to Minnesota. Does it make sense? No, in my opinion, no.
Do you know why Cat is the biggest, like, yes, I agree, like, trade him away? It's because he is a great player, but he's always in foul trouble. And it always disrupts the flow. They could be doing well, and it would disrupt the flow of the game. He's doing bad, and then all of a sudden, everyone's like, oh, you know, he's fouling out, and it gets in his head, and he's like, trade him away. If he's not going to be able to stay on the court for the minutes that you're allowing him to play, get rid of him.
DeMar DeRozan, Nikola Vucevic for Cat.
Hey, that wouldn't be too bad though, you know. Like, no joke, because
stabilize their team.
It
Them
would.
veteran leadership. See, Jared's on
it would
board.
give them minutes. I'd be on board for it. I mean, I know. I know he's just trying to unload and get Cat here, but I mean, let somebody else be Cat's problem. No, but I mean, I think bringing in Mike Conley helped them a lot because we always talk about how good Mike Conley is, and he's like, doesn't get noticed, you know. And I think he did stabilize a lot of things. It doesn't help when you have like I'm looking at their depth. I always look at the depth chart so I can go off names and like how they're being used. Austin Rivers is the 4th string, like the 4th in the depth chart in point guards and shooting guards. I don't like Austin Reeves. Austin Rivers, sorry, Austin Reeves. I like Austin Reeves too. But
Love Austin Reeves.
Yeah, see, you haven't talked about Rivers in so long. But I mean, you have players like that that's on your bench and they're not really contributing, and you're giving all these other players shots. And granted, Rivers has never been that guy, but he's played on a lot of teams where
He's a
he's
hard
played
worker,
with.
though.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, there's a reason why he's a Dookie.
He earns his
But
keep.
he does, and it's not just his
No,
name.
he
It's
plays
not just
like
his name.
Dookie.
There are times where he literally does, but I mean,
play like Dookie. Yeah.
but I mean, going forward, like I think that's my biggest take for this team is, yeah, they made the playoffs, yeah, they did this, yeah, they did things, but at the end of the day, your superstar is costing you minutes, not playing a whole lot, and Rudy Gobert. It was funny because I had this conversation with Henry. Henry started. I think he watched the Minnesota. Was it Minnesota Lakers game? The playoff game, and he's like, dude, I never realized how much Rudy Gobert just complains about the world. Like, he's always hands up in the air and this and that. I mean, and this is the player that they brought in to basically help lead the franchise back to its glory days. And I don't think either of them should be that person. Like, I would love to retain Mike Conley and keep Edwards. But as far as bigs, I mean, counting them throw up that trade, I'd kind of like, I would bite if I was in a manager sense, because yes, veteran leadership. Yes, you stabilize your lineup. Yes, we're getting rid of Cat, and I know how much you hate DeMar over there, but DeMar does good things.
I don't
He
hate
really
DeMar.
does.
I just don't like DeMar's fit with our team.
Yeah.
Let's get that.
It's
DeMar is a
like
phenomenal
Westbrook.
player.
He's
Yeah,
a great
exactly.
player, just doesn't
It's exact. That's why even when they said like, "Oh, you guys should get Westbrook," I was like, "Actually, Westbrook would be better on our
We
team
need
than DeMar
that.
would."
I
Because we
agree.
do need a guy like that could
Mhm.
distribute and actually get the offense going. But
Well, it's like you
DeMar
said,
is
DeMar
just-
DeMar does certain things like, oh, I'm gonna dribble the ball and get to my mid
need a
range
bucket.
shot. Yeah,
Boy,
you
got
need
you.
a mid range bucket. That's the guy you want
Yeah.
to get it.
I
Yeah,
mean, but even still, I'm like
Mid-range
clutch
king.
bucket. Like he literally was third in the final tally for clutch player of the
clutch
year.
player of the
So,
year. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do think that's the reshaping that they need. I mean, it was nice that they brought in Rudy, because I mean, maybe they are thinking of sending Cat on his way out, and that
Man,
was maybe the whole thing
Give Rudy
behind
some
it.
time with
but-
Olajuwon, dude. Just go work on the summer, because he's got no moves. Like,
Mhm.
I would have traded for freaking Tillman, because
Yeah.
you can at least he does the same thing Gobert does, just maybe a little less defense. But you operate and give him the offense, he'll do fine.
Yeah.
But he can't do any. He can't put his back to the basket. He can't back a player into the key. It doesn't make sense. You're going to pay for so much for this guy who's supposed to be all-star defensive player of the year, phenomenal star. Like, he just doesn't have it.
It's
They
funny
only
'cause I will
paid
say
for the defensive side of the ball. It's literally
Yeah.
what it was. I mean,
I will
when you look
say
at this
it's-
big trade,
his poor play really only looks like an albatross because of what they had to give up to get him. Because realistically, like, there are a lot of teams that would want a Rudy Gobert on their team. It's just the fact that
It's true.
they gave up 7 first-round picks for him. Like to me,
that was
that on top of, like, 3 or
that
4
was
players
crazy.
It's like the craziest price to pay for a guy that, like you said, is just one note. Like,
Yeah.
you just paid that much for vanilla, Come on. New nickname for Rudy Gobert, vanilla.
French vanilla.
That's actually
Ooh.
Ah!
Okay. That's a good one. That's a good one.
That's
Everyone's
actually a
probably
good.
like, what the fuck is wrong with these guys?
that's a good. What is it called? Like little setup for foreshadowing. There we go. Foreshadowing for something that we'll be doing a little bit later. But anyway,
Ice
yeah.
cream. Yay.
Great thoughts on Minnesota
Ice cream
Timberwolves.
social.
And the final team we got for you, Nolan, to break down is the Cleveland Cavaliers, who were eliminated in 6, right? 5. Oh yeah, it was 5. Okay, I was like
Five.
did they get- Yeah, that's right. It was that ridiculous. Anyway, yeah. I mean,
I don't know what to tell you
did.
guys.
I know,
Honestly,
we definitely didn't
I-
get that one,
You know, we were very
And it was a
optimistic about the Cavaliers
big disappointment.
team.
And
Yeah, we were
honestly,
very
like that's
optimistic. Donovan Mitchell was showing a little more leadership, getting things done that didn't have to just be scoring.
Yeah.
But what, like, is it just the hot hand of the Knicks coming into it? All of a sudden, they just couldn't operate. Like, I don't know what it is. I think that on paper, the Cavs should have taken that series, but Brunson, once again, earning his contract that everyone was very skeptic about. And hey, Julius Randle showing up when he needs to. You have Quentin Grimes, quickly, all doing great things for this team. Mitchell Robinson is healthy in the postseason. He's doing okay. I think Randle is the one that's injured right now, so hopefully he gets back to fight back against the Heat. But hey, good for the Knicks. You know, it's the same thing like with the Kings. It is the mecca. It's supposed to be the mecca of basketball, and to have the Knicks be a team again. That look at Keona's like, no.
No, sorry, not about you. I was talking about
They have Derrick
what
Rose,
Lila's
man.
doing over here. I don't care. It's funny because somebody posted like, "This is what we want to see," and it's like Derrick Rose with a Knicks jersey and the championship. But I was just like, nobody wants to see that. We want to see it in a Bulls jersey. I know, why the hell would I want to see him in a Knicks jersey winning the damn championship?
I just want to see him getting minutes over there.
But for real though, yeah.
But I'm still holding to the thing where I don't think the Knicks have the playoff maturity yet.
Yeah.
I think it was just a perfect domino effect for their team in how they were able to handle the Cavaliers. And I think maybe the Cavs need to look a little more at what's going to go get them their offense, because they were held to...
How many games does it take the Heat to win?
The Knicks?
How many games does it take the Heat to win this?
Oh, I'm going 6. If there's no Randall, it's going to be 6. Because Jimmy is going to be tired. He's rehabbing
I'm going to say 5.
Jimmy's rehabbing an ankle. I don't know how exposed.
If they win in 7, you guys should
know what?
again.
I'm not going to say, because we've been wrong this whole time. I'm saying diddly squat.
Somebody's going to win in 6. I think somebody's going to win in 5.
Just like the only one you guys really called exactly right, I think, just purely because you guys are both fans.
Lakers fans?
Lakers. Yeah, like that was like the only one you guys actually like. Were
No,
like,
we were
100%.
right for the Philadelphia series. We said sweep.
You're right.
We said sweep.
You're right.
Hey, I also said way back when the Kings won't last in playoffs once they face a good veteran team that knows how to do it. But I think the Cavs are one.
We like go back. It shows a highlight of you like the beat.
Light it. Let's go.
You're like wearing purple and everything.
Dude, that would be hilarious.
No,
that would be super funny.
But no, I think the Cavs are one scoring piece away from actually being different than how they performed this year. Because a team in the playoffs being held to under 80 points, that's not just defense. That is you just being shitty at scoring and getting your offense. And Jarrett Allen, Mobley are not go-get-it offense. They are, you give them the ball, you open it up for them, you create, boom. Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell can both do that for them. But why is it going to be all dependent so much on these two guards when you need some sort of stretch forward or a big man who can go get it themselves? I just think that good players, but maybe they just need to reassemble it in a certain way.
Do you think lack of playoff experience plays into factor for this?
You can say that, but Cavs made playoffs last year, didn't they?
But I mean, did they really have great experiences
They did,
there?
but
Like,
like,
you know, like when you talk about playoff experience, it's not just about getting to the playoffs. It's about winning games. It's about knowing how to grind, having somebody lead and teach you like the importance of it. And then like,
but I kind of the only reason I was going to say I'm pushing back a little bit on that is because of Donovan Mitchell and Karis LeVert. Like they've both been in the playoffs.
I think Jarrett Allen's been in the playoffs a bit. Garland is a little bit in the playoffs last year. They've had this experience, and they learned from Kevin Love when he was on the team, and everyone respected him.
That too. It was like significant runs. Like was really like Donovan Mitchell and Karis LeVert.
But overall, yes, there is a team totality.
Because LeVert was with that Dinwiddie, D'Angelo Russell Nets team that kind of went to like the second round or whatever that one year. So I don't know. It's just so weird for me because there's such a weird makeup of a team. Honestly, like I agree. I do think we've said it before that they can work, and they showed that they can work. But realistically, it's going to come down to them kind of either moving off of the extra big front court ideal or the extra small backcourt ideal. Like I think one of those will have to change in
Yeah,
order for them to like really be
can't
successful.
have
Because
3 and then 2, right?
like you can't. I mean, you can't have
Only
like
needed.
2 like 6-foot guards and then
I would
like
say
2
trade away
7
Allen.
foot.
Allen
Yeah,
is still a very valuable piece in the NBA.
Yeah.
So you trade away him, you can
Mhm.
have Mobley still be that youthful guy. You're growing more and
Mhm.
more.
Mhm.
But you can get like a lot of better pieces for Allen because of
For
his
sure.
value still.
You get a cat.
I don't know if I would force Mobley to be a 5 though. I
Yeah.
I mean, they played him. They played him as a 4. So I mean, they played him as both. So I mean,
Yeah.
it'd
I mean,
be.
they-
Depends on the
you have 2
rotations
stretch
he plays
bigs.
both.
Depends what works. We use AD as a 5, but that's because we need him to be the 5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you guys don't
I
have
mean, he
anybody
proved that
else,
he can be a 5 with 55
He just
blocks
doesn't like
in the
it, but he'll
games, you
do it.
know.
He owns up to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean that'll do it for our breakdown for the NBA playoff teams. I think those
Liar.
are great analyses. So,
We didn't talk about the Nets yet.
I thought we talked about him last time
we did them. Yeah, it was last episode.
Oh.
as
because
well.
they got eliminated.
Yeah.
In 4.
That's
Yeah,
right.
they were early elimination.
You know, it's so sad because I like them.
I was like, I was like, I think you talked about them.
Probably, I don't remember. It's been so long. There's been so many games, dude.
Anyway.
I'm in CIF right now. I got so many things on my mind.
Not just that. To be honest, I wasn't even sure. I was like, did we talk about the Timberwolves? But I mean, maybe we doubled up on the Timberwolves. I don't know. I don't even remember.
Whatever.
Anyway,
No, we didn't.
that'll do it for our playoff analyses. I'm gonna go over to one last little game I got for you guys.
Yay.
This is the NBA nickname game. So I'm just gonna give a nickname. You're gonna give me the player. So I'm gonna start off with you, Nolan, first. We got the answer.
AI.
Cool.
There you go.
How dare it's gonna-
I have a jersey
First
of
for-
AI. Come on,
First
man.
for you, Jared. We got the truth.
Paul Pierce. You know what's funny? I literally just put that in my head that that's what you're gonna say.
I'm like thinking
I
like,
was like-
oh shit.
I know. I'm
Oh,
thinking of
no.
nicknames right now.
Going over you, Nolan. We got Big Baby.
Glenn Davis.
Ooh, you almost said Big Baby Davis, huh?
Yeah, I was like, that's what I call him. You know, what I mean?
That's what they call him.
Jared. We got the Stilt.
Wilt the Stilt.
There we go. Nolan, we got the round mound of rebound.
Charles Barkley.
Jared, the Admiral.
Oh, David Robinson. Big 5-0.
Yes, sir. Nolan, we got the logo.
Jerry West.
Dude, if you can not get that one, man, you are a fake fan of the Lakers.
I got it right. I did it. Why are you guys getting mad at me?
Jared, we got Big O.
Oscar Robinson.
There we go. Nolan, ISO Joe.
Joe Johnson.
There you go. Jared, the Worm.
The colored hair guy. Dennis Rodman.
He couldn't think of the name, so he had to say color.
I knew who it was.
But
I knew
you
who
knew,
it
you
was.
knew, I know.
I knew who it was.
Yeah. Nolan. White Mamba.
Brian Scalabrine.
Jared, White Chocolate.
Oh, Jason Williams, baby. The
Mhm.
best passer in the NBA.
God,
No,
we're
no,
a
no,
bunch of
no.
NBA nerds.
Yeah.
Nolan, Stat.
Oh, fuck. Jerry Stackhouse?
No, Stat.
Oh, I thought he said stack. I thought the same thing.
Oh.
Stat.
I don't
Oh,
know.
wow. I did not think that this was going to be the one that stumped you.
Jared, do you
I
know?
thought the
We
next
let
one-
him take the challenge. If
No, I don't. I can't think of it. Who is it?
That's Amari Stoudemire.
Oh.
Yeah. The next one. Wow, I didn't think you. Okay, neither of you got it, so it didn't matter. Next one. Going over to Jared, technically, because it was supposed to be yours. Born Ready.
Oh, why do? Oh my
that's
god!
someone in the NBA now.
This is gonna bother you. This is gonna bother you. I know it is because I know you know who this is.
Dude, I'm gonna flub this, and I'm gonna be sad as hell. It's Kyrie Irving.
Come on, that's Uncle Drew, and that's not even.
I know it's
That's
Uncle
what I
Drew,
said.
but I'm just like thinking. I can't drop
Nolan
anything.
for the steal.
Joe?
And you're gonna say it?
Ah, come on.
Already? No,
You got 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Lance Stevenson.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I was like, oh, come on. Okay, going over to you,
Nolan.
Nolan. We got Maple Jordan.
Maple Jordan.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the Maple should be a pretty big giveaway on where they're
Something
from.
Canadian.
Mhm.
Maple Jordan. Why? I have an answer, but I don't want to say it because I know that's not what his nickname is.
It could be. I think I know who you're thinking of.
It's not Vince?
Ah, no. I thought
See, I thought it was.
no.
Okay, wait then.
No,
Canadian,
it's
though.
Go for it. Go for it, Jared. Go
Yeah.
for steal.
No, I thought it was Vince too because I know they it wasn't always Air Canada. It wasn't always the human highlight reel. It was something that had to do with Toronto.
Half man, half amazing. No, yeah. I was like, there's so many names he goes by. It's not that.
Yeah,
though.
that's
No,
why I
it's not-
thought
it's not
that's what I
Vince.
thought it was him.
No. Okay, I'll just say this:
Fred VanVleet.
an actual Canadian player, like not a player who played in Canada, like an actual Canadian, like a native Canadian.
I'll let you go first, Nolan. I have an answer, but I doubt I'm right.
Maple Jordan? I don't know. Andrew
Still
Wiggins.
in the.
It's Andrew Wiggins.
Yes, Andrew Wiggins.
I was like, that's the only Canadian other than Steve Nash that
Yeah,
called
I
that.
was like, those are the two that I was thinking. I was like, well, it's not Steve Nash, so I'm just gonna go with
Ironically,
yours.
I really thought you guys were going to be like solid up until these last two, and the last two are the hard ones. So, the first one I got for you is Chocolate Thunder.
Chocolate
Who's-
I'll throw that
Thunder.
in. Either of you, whoever can get it.
Chocolate Thunder.
This one is an older player.
Oh. No, that's not him.
And it is an Eastern Conference, or mostly he was mostly in the Eastern Conference. I mean, he played for a few teams, but
I have only one guess. I'm gonna go with Sean Kemp.
ooh, that was actually a good guess. But no, that's not it.
I don't
That
got
actually,
one.
honestly, if you said his name was Chocolate Thunder, I low-key would have been like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
It's
But
either him or because I was like thinking because I know it's not Dominique.
that's closer of an answer.
Dominique's the closer of an answer.
Dominique is the closer of the answer.
So that means he played for Atlanta. Oh, is it Josh Smith?
Oh, you
That
went
was
the
a good
other
guess,
way.
but no.
Yeah, I was like, you went the other way. You went younger. It's supposed to be kind of like.
Oh no,
same-ish.
older.
Yeah, same issue.
Yeah, I don't have a guess. Don't ask me.
Yeah.
I don't want to embarrass myself. But Jared had good guesses. So who is it?
Moses.
I'm waiting for him. He seems like he's on it, so I'm just
Dude.
trying to let him.
Did Moses Malone play for them? For Atlanta?
I don't think Moses Malone played for.
'Cause I thought he was an Eastern Conference person. Dude, I only got. I mean, the only other person that I know is Atlanta. That is Spud Webb,
It's
and that's the
Gerald-
only person that I would say.
player
I
was
think he's like
Gerald
dunk
Dawkins.
champion. Darryl
Darryl
Dawkins. Oh my
Dawkins.
god.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's
Oh,
funny. I didn't
you
know
sure?
that. One. That was,
I get
that one was-
I get quarter points
you were
for all the
close.
good
That's why I said
answers.
You were right there. I was like,
I
you're
know.
getting there. And then the last one I
great,
have, which I don't think anybody's gonna guess, but just for fun, Psycho T.
Oh,
Psycho T.
If you know this one, that's actually pretty
Tyler Hansbrough.
impressive. Wow, how did you know that one?
because he was always a piece of shit.
I
You
had
get in
no- like, I
fights
was
with
like-
the most random players that you should get in fights with.
I was like,
When he
bro,
was
that
at UNC, bro, he was a dick.
Yeah.
How people
It's
hated
just
Christian
funny, though.
Leitner from the Duke. Yeah, everybody hated Tyler Hansbrough at UNC.
Impressive. Well done. I was like, I think
We're
that's
kind
a
of
tie.
nerds. Yeah,
That's a tie. Yeah, that was pretty good. That was a tie. All right. Anyway, yeah, I think that'll do it for us here on this episode of After the Buzzer. Where can the people find you, Nolan?
On Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch at Nolan KYT, NOLAN KYT.
Bang bang. Jared, where can the people find you?
I am on Instagram and Twitch at jshirai, JSHIRAI, and on Twitter at jshirai808.
Raja. And you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch at KONE. That's KAYOHKNEE. As always, it's been a pleasure. It's been a joy from all of us here at Poi N Soy.
Good vibes and love, everybody.
Bang, bang.
Shooties.